There we go. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for coming to our show and tell on how we liberated social care documents from VDI. Paul is going to talk to the slides, which I'll be flicking through. I hope you find this interesting. It was certainly a really fun project to work on. So Paul, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Darren. So welcome, everyone. And hello, I'm going to be talking about our little project to liberate social care documents from VDI. So if the problem we were trying to solve, so at the beginning of the lockdown, even before the lockdown, we had a real ambition to get our applications and systems accessible on any device using a browser over an internet connection. So we didn't need a Windows platform to do that. And the way therefore we wouldn't need to use VDI. So one of the first systems we did this with as soon as the lockdown happened was Mosaic. So we set it free. And that was helpful to colleagues in social care. It had been previously available outside VDI, but only on devices that were Hackney devices with a certificate installed. At the lockdown, what we did was we removed that need because we've got other methods of security to enable us to do that. And that's what Keith talked about at the strategy show and tell a week or so ago. But in conjunction with the social care system Mosaic, there are document management systems that hold records, documents we've created, documents that have been sent to us against a case file. And they can only be accessed via VDI because they're held in Camino and eDocs. So what we wanted to do was essentially enable the entirety of social care to view records outside VDI. So our solution is oh, the little birds are fly my pretties is a very, very good analogy for what we did. So we ended up focusing on eDocs simply because that's the most used. Camino was a legacy system, and the majority of our documents are held in eDocs. The majority of our documents are held in eDocs. This is the most frequently used. We can only make them viewable, but from what we understood from our users, that would be extremely useful. So we put a team together from both Maytech and Hackett, and that involved Ben, as we were talking about, Ben Pert, and three devs, Shaba, Ninama, and Ashley, alongside myself, Darren, Sharon, Ninad, and Chris, who were all working to make this solution work. So what did we do? Well, we had plan A. Plan A was to build an API and then do some clever network tomfoolery and realize the benefit. But it didn't work. Very simply, that plan didn't work, and we discovered that eDocs didn't want to play nicely with new tech, so we had to revert to some older technology to enable us to do a thing, split it into two parts. We also then had to do some work to Mosaic itself, changing the config file. And finally, we had to ensure that documents were viewable in the browser. So originally, when we put this together, documents would have had to be downloaded to devices. That presents a massive security risk, and we didn't really want to have social care documents being downloaded to a device because that doesn't make any sense. So we had to add the converter in there so that things could be viewed. Not all documents can be viewed. There are some odd file types. So image files like PNGs, TIFFs, maybe a few GIFs, can all be viewed. Word documents are converted to PDF so that they can be viewed in the browser. And we used what did we use to do that? We used the OpenOffice conversion tools to do that. We were able to script that to work well. We also discovered that it's really important to make sure that when you're making changes that you have things spelt correctly. One of our key challenges was actually going live when we realized that we'd spelt Mosaic wrong in the URL link. So attention to detail, always a must. In terms of what we built, this isn't all new tech. We didn't start from the very beginning. We, as part of the work MadeTech and FutureGov did with the housing needs teams, they built the single view product, but within the single view product, there was a document viewer, and we reused that concept. So we reused the document viewer from there and built on that technology. We also reused the Google Auth piece, which has been used again in the I Need Help tool. So we are very much taking the good bits that the reusable components, and repurpose them and reusing them, and it's made the deployment much quicker. All of what we've done is being completed within 4 weeks, and we are on the brink of letting those pretties fly. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Sharon for the live tech demo.
Hi guys, I'm just going to share my screen with you. So this is Mosaic once you've logged in. We're currently looking at a test case. So what a user would do if they wanted to view documents, they'd go into the test case, or they'd go into the case, select documents. That takes them to this screen. Here you've got 2 tabs. So you've got forms and letters, which are not stored in eDocs. They're stored in Mosaic on the server, so you can view these without any problems. But the attachments here are all eDocs links. So as you can see, there's Word documents, Acrobat documents. I saw an Outlook document here, which will be good to test when we try and open. So I'll start with that. This would normally happen anyway in Mosaic. It would ask you to download a copy of the document, and then it will take you to a screen where you would use eDocs authentication. So based on what groups you have access to in eDocs will determine whether you could open that document or not. So here, once you click on the document, it will ask you for Google authentication, and this is where you will choose your Gmail account. Close your eyes, guys. So you would only need to log in with your Gmail authentication the first time you use this, or if you clear your browsing history, which is what I had to do in order to show you how you would need to log on for the first time. So the test shows that Outlook documents can't be viewed. So before, what was happening, we were getting a very unfriendly server error. So what the dev team have done is put a nice little sentence to let you know that you can't view this document and you will need to log into VDI to view that document. And simply because that's an Outlook document which can't be open in a Chromebook, which is what I'm using. Okay, so back to Mosaic. We can try another document. So we try a test Word document. Again, download a copy. It takes a few seconds for the first time, but then this should open into a viewable version of that document. And there you go. That's just a test document that's held in eDocs. So you can't edit that at all. It's just simply a view. We were having problems before. Ninad, did you want to speak about one of the issues that we had to sort of tweak?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So basically, in the original design of the architect of the tool, we were caching any documents that were opened from eDocs via the tool. The purpose behind that was so once the documents were cached, it was quicker to open these documents the next time whenever we accessed it. But a drawback of that was whenever a document was updated in eDocs, the cached document was not refreshed automatically, so which was causing issues regarding data consistency. So to overcome that, the caching feature has been enabled. The downside is it takes maybe a second or two more for the document to load, but then we are at least sure that it's the right document that we are viewing with the right and most up-to-date contents. Back to Sharon.
Okay.
Thank you, Ninad and Sharon.
Yep. So that's it for the presentation. Were there any questions?
No questions. We've obviously done such an amazing job that everyone is satisfied.
Yeah, we've explained it thoroughly.
I had a question.
I do too. Okay.
So you mentioned that you can't access Outlook documents. Would it be possible in the future to liberate them as well?
Well, I tried to open that same document inside VDI and it sort of asks you for an Outlook profile. So that would indicate to me that it's actually an email that someone saved, which is not really the done thing. So in a case like I don't think that would be possible unless someone's got any other ideas.
So the challenge there is that some things have been saved in different different formats. So in all likelihood, that will have been saved as a message format file, which we would have to invest. We could invest some more work to do some exploration about how we'd convert those, definitely. But we took the rule of which were the quickest, which were the easiest, which were the majority. So there's definitely work we could extend out to do more documents. We could also, Ninad mentioned about the caching. We could have extended out a little bit further to get the API to check whether there's a later version of the document as well. So you could actually re-enable the caching if we wanted to at a later date to speed those things up. So there are definitely some things we might do to improve, enhance this if we wanted to. The key thing for now is to get colleagues using it and find out what the issues might be. Does that answer your question, Kate?
Yeah, I think so. And in fact, I think my question would have been better asked as, what's the next most valuable opportunity we might take? Because obviously, as you're right, it depends how many of them there are and how useful it is.
And that's something we can work out from numbers in eDocs. That's, we can understand that. I wonder whether the real user enhancement would possibly be to solve the caching issue. But both of those need probably a little more work to understand how big a problem they are for users and how often they occur.
And I know that David had a question, but I also, I had a follow-up question, which was, how are users finding this service?
So I'd ask the team, have we had any...
What's their experience of using it? What's the feedback been?
So the initial feedback is good. We haven't rolled it out across the service. We've just tested it within the team and a couple of immediate users. So they've managed to, get past the initial hurdle, which is basically logging in, using the correct Gmail account, and viewing documents. So yeah, initial feedback is good.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, I'll just dive in quickly with my one. Well, a couple of things. First of all, I just wanted to flag up the reuse thing. I think that's brilliant. I think that it's great that Hackett's starting to build these components that are allowing us to slot them together to build new systems quickly. And I think we should be waving a big flag about how great that is. But my question is actually related to what Paul was saying about caching. I didn't really understand what you meant by the caching problem, Paul. Maybe you could just reiterate that. But the question I was going to ask was about you saying that you didn't want to have a situation where potentially sensitive documents get downloaded to individuals' machines. Mm-hmm. But even if you're just viewing a PDF locally, you're still going to pull that document down and it's still going to be sitting in your browser cache, unless we're specifically doing some kind of no caching thing. I was wondering if you could speak to that a bit.
Thanks, David. I was going to ask that question as well. Just follow up, Paul, before you answer about the documents specifically. I think I saw an email come in from one of the social workers about the search history using Mosaic outside of VDI, and I wondered if it's a same issue with documents, and what are we doing?
So the Mosaic history thing is a completely different issue, and I'm not sure. Yeah, we can deal with that differently. We can have a conversation about that differently. In terms of so previously, before we use PDF conversion, before we use, what the document actually did was physically downloaded to so you take a copy of the document, it wouldn't cache the document. Also, the document is being cached in S3, and you're viewing the document in Amazon in AWS S3, not downloading it to the machine. So the link to the document is there. Yes, I understand that you're taking the file path, but you're not actually pulling the document as such. You're viewing on the server in AWS. The caching problem is one where, so the way this works is when you ask to see a document, the request goes to the API. The API then talks to the eDocs API, and it pulls the document out of eDocs and stores it in S3. And in doing that, it creates a copy. It creates a permanent cached version of that document in S3. And so we did that for speed. But if somebody then updates the document in eDocs, the updates won't be viewable. So that's the caching problem, if you like. There are a number of documents that could be updated, and we wouldn't be able to see the updates in the cache if we used it at the moment. Does that make sense, David?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the caching problem now. In terms of what I was asking about downloading things to the machine, I think maybe we can have a chat about that offline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone for more questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We hope to get this out to social care colleagues quite soon. And if there are any other questions on this, just drop one of us a message. Thank you very much.
It's great stuff, folks. Thank you.